So, how are you guys doing today? Thanks for looking in. I'm Andy. I'm doing pretty good. Thank you very much. And if this is your first time watching, please hit that subscribe button. It helps the channel know and helps the psychic stuff of this life get more of a grip on what's going on and bringing good changes into the world. So today we are going to do a quick 3-card tarot reading from the Starman Tarot. But first, stuff psychics say, and today I want to talk about spirit guides. This is something that's come up quite a lot in the last few days, and that tends to be what drives me to think it would be good to make a video about something. And therein actually is a lot of the truth of what goes on in terms of spirit guides and how they lead us and how they guide us. We just tend to find that we're doing whatever it is that they want us to, or we're going in the direction towards, whatever it is they're trying to lead us to, because they are a very, very powerful presence. And people sometimes ask me, how do I know if my spirit guides are actually on the case, if they're working with me, and how do I know who they are? And knowing exactly who they are, that's a tricky one. They do reveal themselves slowly, when the time is right. They don't tend to do so before for a lot of reasons, and I'm sure I don't know all of the reasons. But for example, some people might be rather scared if there was suddenly, a spirit guide appeared, because that would be like seeing a ghost or something. And anything around spiritualism has this spooky, ghostly kind of image. But really, it's nothing to do with ghosts. I mean, ghosts make great stories. I'm sure we'll have some amazing ghost stories around Christmas because it scares people, But when we're dealing with spiritual interventions of any kind, it's always done for the highest, best good of all, because the guides themselves belong to the eternal realms, to which, of course, I've got no more access to them than you have, really. But the fact is, we do all have some access to it. And what I want to say about that, though, is that it is a mystery, this whole subject really is something that people think of as mystical. We don't know why exactly, but I have found out, and a great many people actually, a great many psychics, a great many spiritualists and mediums have found out that it is always for the highest good, whenever you get a spirit presence around you. It's nearly always someone ancestral, someone from the family going back, maybe someone you didn't actually know yourself, maybe, from several generations back. Maybe someone you knew yourself in this life that you've lost. And essentially, you find that you still know them when you start looking into this kind of thing. Because in very simple terms, the human body is a frail thing. It needs food to survive. It has to be looked after. It catches diseases, sadly, and then it gets into accidents, which is a terrible thing when it happens, of course. But that is the nature of the human body. What is nothing really to do with the nature of the body is the soul. And there is a link between body and soul, surely. I mean, if you eat a healthy diet, if you try and live a good life, and you try not to not to dwell on, hard things, upsetting, worrying things, then you're much more likely to be spiritually successful, I suppose, is the way I'd sum it up. But who are we to judge that kind of success? I don't really know. But I do know that every human being has a higher self, and it really is part of what we do in our human bodies in this life. But that higher self is all to do with the spiritual soul, and the spiritual soul doesn't need food. It's not subject to diseases. It's not subject to viruses. It's not subject to accidents or anything like that. The human soul always goes on, because it's not something really scientifically detectable. Now, there have been experiments by people trying to prove the existence of the human soul. I just don't know if they're ever going to be 100% convincing. There does seem that there was an attempt to weigh the soul at one point, and I really don't know how they could have been sure of their results from that, because in the moment a human body actually dies, I would imagine there are physiological changes that happen instantly. I don't know, I'm not a scientist in that sense, but it was proved that the human body weighs like a tiny fraction of a gram less as soon as the life has gone out of it. So, you can take that as you will. And when I say I'm not sure about that, don't get me wrong. I have absolute faith that the soul is a separate thing from the body. And I've seen lots of evidence myself that the human soul does actually go on long after the body is finished in this world. But it's been a personal journey, it hasn't been something where a scientist has proved it to me or anything like that. Within spiritualism, in the spiritualist church, we have to read this disclaimer thing out before we start the services, which has words to the effect of this is an experiment to prove survival of the body, survival of the soul after death of the body. There are different wordings for that, but it's something we have to say at the beginning of our services. And what can I really say about that? Just the fact that we have to give a disclaimer shows that huge numbers of people just could never believe that there was anything going on after death of the body. But in the spiritualist churches, we see it absolutely all the time. I've never been to a service where that wasn't proved on one level or another. Sometimes the proof is more compelling, sometimes it's more astonishing than other times, but there is always some proof there. And this is because, we work with spirit guides, and we very often find that when someone has passed away, whoever passes away certainly still has a soul going on up there, but some people who pass away seem to have some kind of soul level gift which they're able to use in the afterlife, and they become like a telephone exchange. I have an uncle that very often speaks to me through mediums, and there'll just be one or two words from him, and then someone else from the family will start speaking through the medium. And this sounds amazing. It sounds really way out there, but if you ever get a chance to go to a spiritualist church, friends, you will actually you'll witness that for yourselves. I'm sure it pretty well always happens. I can't remember a service when it didn't work, although there's always something experimental about it. And I'm a medium myself, and I've taken services where I've come away and thought, I didn't really bring much through this time, did I? That's the nature of it. That's how it goes. But this is all to do with spirit guides. I mean, I've talked so far about how I'm sure and how I can be sure myself that spirit guides are a real thing, and that the human body dies and the soul actually does go on. But you have to discover it for yourself. It's a journey of personal discovery. And spirit guides are people who facilitate that understanding of the afterlife. They're people who help the great knowledge, the great overview that spirit beings have. The spirit guides help them to actually use that knowledge and use that information that they have, use what they can see to actually inform us, to guide our footsteps along the path which the Great Spirit has prepared for us to walk in. And we choose our path in this life before we actually come to this earth. That's a fact. Again, it's easy for me to sit here and say it's a fact. I've experienced extremely powerful and very compelling proof of that. Not everybody has, but then not everybody is actually looking for it. And something they teach us as mediums is not to try and persuade people to believe in spiritualism, because people will believe in it when they actually find us. And I'm confident putting this video out because I'm sure that anybody who absolutely 100% doesn't believe in this, they would see the title and they wouldn't bother watching the video. So I know I'm speaking to people who either believe this or are, sitting on the fence somewhere and thinking they're interested in it, And if that's you, and if you don't completely believe this, God bless you. I'm so glad that you're watching the video today. But the soul is a true thing that goes on and on and on. And among spirit guides, which we all have, every living human being has a gatekeeper. And I still don't know who my gatekeeper is, but my gatekeeper has done great things for me. I've just seen things that I don't get many negative comments. I've never been put in a position where I was so upset that I wanted to give up the spiritual life or anything like that. And I've been protected for many years now against, visions, quite disturbing visions that I had as a small child when I was too young to understand that this was a spiritual thing, because that really does feel like a ghost story. That really does feel spooky. To give you an example, when I can't really remember, but I think I was under the age of 6. I was probably 4 or 5. And the family, my sister and my mum and dad and I, were out in the car, and we drove past a cemetery, and I looked into this cemetery, and it was all lit up. There were balls of light floating around, and all the graves were lit up, and there were people sitting up in the graves kind of talking to each other back and forth. And there were also light figures going up and down the rows of graves as if they were kind of, I don't know, passing the word around or something like that. And I really absolutely thought it was for real. I didn't know what cemeteries were. I could just see this. And I told my family, and their reactions varied. 2 of them thought I was, just, a bit mad and just shut up, you're making it up sort of thing. And my mum actually was quite freaked out by it, quite worried by it. And I ended up having to see psychologists, a child psychiatrist at one point as well. And the rest of the family just saw me as a bit of a nutter, so I didn't tend to say these things to any of my friends. That is something that, when I look back on it, I rather wish my gatekeeper had either stopped that happening or kind of moderated the experience in some way. But then, if that had been the case, I would never have had the strength of faith, the strength of belief that I've got now. And there were other childhood experiences, but I'm talking more about spirit guides today than I'm talking about absolutely everyone in the spirit world, because they don't all become guides. There's a kind of a band of light of people who will help the human race as much as possible. There's your own relatives who'll just want to send you love and understanding and maybe little hints, maybe little messages. Maybe you'll be missing someone one day and you'll see something when you're out walking that reminds you of them. They can all do that. They really can. But spirit guides are much more focused on the path you're going to walk through life and, on the experiences you're going to have in life, helping you to understand the experiences as they come up. And this is the problem with ghost stories and like films like the Amityville Horror. When you're really, really freaked out by a thing like that, it causes the third eye to close down a little bit every time, and the third eye can end up absolutely locked down shut, so you can't sort of see anything with it. And if someone is going to have the sort of task that I've been given in this part of my life to work as a spiritualist medium, that third eye needs to be open. So my gatekeeper as a spirit guide has helped me to keep that third eye open, no matter what's happened, And I've often lost my faith in the spiritualist church, and I've often lost my faith in some of the people that kind of help with it. But I've never lost my faith in the fact that, spirit beings are absolutely for real. So that's one level of guidance, the gatekeeper. But we all have guides, and they're all focused on helping us walk our spiritual path and do the spiritual work that we were put on this earth to do. And we've all got some kind of mission in this world, for sure. I know not many people think that way, not that many people realise it, but those of us who do are really, we're given a real powerful gift there, a wonderful gift, and it's great to actually use that gift as much as possible. So if you found yourself, for example, if you're just interested in doing readings, if you're interested in this whole thing, you might actually then find yourself doing readings, and you might just do 1 or 2 readings for friends and not really see yourself as being particularly good at it. But that is the beginning of something. And you see, a spirit guide, or maybe multiple spirit guides, will have drawn you in that direction, will have introduced you to the people who you needed to know to actually make that connection and start doing those readings. And the more readings you do, the more evidence you get of that, the more sure you become of it. Excuse me. And when you're doing readings for lots of people, which I'm very, very lucky to do, actually, I do them all the time, it's just such a privilege, because you kind of connect the dots all the time. You never stop seeing connections between people and between, the person you're talking to and things that have been happening to them and things, words that have come into your mind to actually give that person. And that is the point, early on in doing readings, when a great many people say, well, have I really got spirit guides? How do I know I've got spirit guides? Well, you've got spirit guides because those things are happening to you, It seems like magic, does it not? It really is a magical feeling when it happens. And, I'm not going to sit here and say magic isn't a thing, because I'm sure it is. But it's all guided. It all happens for a reason, So where you actually are in life, whatever you're doing in life, somehow it is spiritually guided. I'm sure of that. And the ways that can happen varies a lot. I started reading the tarot when I lived in Cardiff in South Wales, UK. In sort of mid-1980s, I'd been in the RAF, the British Air Force, and I'd had experiences there as well, actually, but none of them were things I understood. And at the time, I was going into training to be a priest in the Christian church. But I just became interested in the tarot, and my little group of friends, people I knew at the time, just all suddenly got this interest in tarot. And several of us bought tarot decks, and some of us, got reasonably quite good at it. But even then, I still felt that I'd made this choice to buy a packet of tarot cards, and I was going to learn the stuff in the little book that came with the tarot cards, and I was going to give people tarot readings, and, I would just be kind of reading cards to them. I still had no idea how much the thing was guided. And I didn't really find out how much the thing was guided, actually, until, it was about 2008, I believe. And I had this girlfriend who was a spiritualist medium, and I was very fond of her. And I didn't want to, dismiss any of it because I didn't want to offend her, but I really wasn't sure. But through knowing her, I got to know that she actually, she was able to describe my parents to me, even though they'd passed away long years before. And she knew nothing about my parents, but she was able to describe them to me. She was even able to describe the kind of relationship that they had and everything. And when I say and everything, I do mean everything. And so that, really built my faith up. And then I joined a website and I started learning from a medium on there who thought I was a medium. And it turned out to be true, But all those people, all those things that happened, all the people I met, all the places I went, when I look back, I can see a pattern to it. And I can see how spirit guides were leading me along to actually get me into the position where I was able to do mediumship. And to this day, I'm still astonished by it. If you were watching the live last night, and by the way, thank you very much if you were watching that, it was a great one. Very kind of cosmic. It was the winter solstice and we had a great connection. But there were two people who came on who were going through bereavement and sort of wondered if there was a message. And at one point, I said to one of them, you just got to keep on keeping on. And that's something I say, it's something a lot of people say, really. But that turned out to be very significant to the lady who was asking about the message. That was actually one of her family sayings. And that was proof to her that something about the person she wanted to contact was actually coming through me. And that is how it works. But you could have knocked me down with a feather. I've been doing it so long and I was still surprised that hit the spot. Spirit guides, they are absolutely amazing. And it does take quite a long time before you start seeing them. I still haven't seen quite a lot of my spirit guide family. But it is a kind of family and we do all have it. Anyway, there we go. That's my little Stuff Psychics Say bit for today. I'm going to bring out the cards now from the Starman Tarot. These are fabulously colourful cards, and they're painted by Davide De Angelis, who did a lot of artwork for David Bowie. And so you might, if you're a Bowie fan or you ever have been, you might recognise some of these images, or at least, the way these images have been put together. Okay, so let's have a shuffle now. I'm going to do a 3-card pick a card reading. You can pick whichever card you want, 1, 2 or 3, and we'll see where we go. But don't pick it just yet, just wait till I've had a little shuffle here. Okay, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring out 3 cards from the deck. This is very difficult because it's spilt all over the place. Oh, I'm really bad shuffler. I was saying that as well last night. Okay, let's bring out 3 cards from right there deep in the middle of the deck and see what we've actually got. Right, I'm going to put the rest of them over there and I'm going to hold up, let me see now, card 1, card 2 or card 3. Which of those 3 cards appeals to you, friends? Do all 3 of them appeal to you? Is it that one and that one? Is it that one and that one? Or is it the 2 outside ones? Or is it just one? Pick a card. That's what it's all about. And I'm confident to do these pick a card readings because I know everyone has got their own inner psychic working all the time. I know everyone's got spirit guides, and if you pick a card and it really strikes a chord with you and resonates with you, let me know in the comments below. Actually, I love to see this evidence happening, and it happens all the time. But anyway, you know, whatever, if you pick a card and it really hits a spot for you, then you know that you were guided to watch this video, you were guided to pick the card that you picked. You were guided to buy a computer 20 years ago when you got your first computer. It's all guided. It's all, you know, it's only when you look back you realise how much it's guided. So card number 1. Okay, it's number 8 in the major arcane, and I'll bring it up close because it's not obvious from the picture, but it's strength. And as you look at the picture, you can see there are 2 lions there. And these aren't ligers like we had the other day. These are actual lions here. They've got the lion-y manes. But even though they're the same animal, the light is making a huge difference in the way it shines on them, isn't it? You know, you can imagine that in a certain light they would look identical because they're the same animal and there's no biological difference with them. But it's just the way the light is falling on them is making them look different. So this is what I'm drawing out of the card for anyone who's picked it today. There are other meanings. There are so many different images in this card. It's absolutely packed. This deck is like that, actually. But that's the one I'm picking up on today. So strength. Now I guess then, because I've seen it that way, you must be seeing something in a different light, or maybe you're starting to become aware of like another side of life, something you hadn't looked at before, or you know, you're in a situation which is making you think twice, which is actually kind of changing your mind maybe from long held beliefs. And this could be about absolutely anything. And the thing is, you're seeing it in a different light. And that does actually take strength to face up to, because in the journey of life, we become sure of certain things, and it's very difficult when we're suddenly disamused of something and we suddenly find that, oh, that wasn't that after all. You need all your strength to admit that to yourself. Excuse me, and see the truth in it, okay? There's some turquoise flashes in this card. And that turquoise colour is all to do with the throat chakra. It's about speaking your truth and just kind of truth in general. Maybe someone else is speaking their truth, but that's what it's about. This shirt is supposed to be turquoise. It doesn't look very turquoise, does it? I'll have to get different lights. I'm sure I will. But there you go, then I'll be seeing things in a different light, and you'll be seeing me in a different light as well, I'm sure. But never mind, for the strength card, this lady in the middle, quite a fearsome situation standing in between 2 active roaring lions, and they really are both roaring, you can see that. But she's not bothered. She's going to be okay because she knows she's got the strength to handle whatever she's being shown. So, to sum that card up, you know, if life has suddenly thrown you like a curveball and things are just not going anything like the way you expected, then please know, if you picked card 1, you've got the strength to actually deal with that. You've got the strength to find the truth in the situation for yourself, and you're going to be able to handle it, okay? Nothing is going to knock you over because you've got the strength. And that strength card is number 8, and that 8 shape, that figure of 8 shape, going way back into, as long as that shape's existed, really. People have seen it as something that suggests that there are two cycles going on. There's the heavenly cycle and there's the earthly cycle. And they might go in opposite directions, but they are completely linked, you know, so you can call on your spirit guides for help. That would be one of the things you could most certainly do. So what is card number 2? Let's turn it over. This one is the 6 of Swords. Wow. Now, the swords are always about decisions that have got to be made. So if you picked all 3, this is the heart of the matter, by the way. This is the real kind of basis of what you're going through at the moment. Let me look a little more closely. Okay, there's this crazy coloured mask up here, puffing out blue, turquoise blue smoke. So someone's speaking truth to you, okay? You're getting some advice about a decision that you need to make at the moment. That's the bottom line of this card. There's gold all over it, so there are going to be good results if you actually go with the flow. And take this advice, okay? Because it's coming from a really scary looking mask, but it is turquoise light. It is absolutely for real. And this Native American looking character here is almost trying to fight it off. Don't fight it off too much though. What you have got to do though is no matter how truthful it is, what's coming from this crazy looking mask or whatever it is someone's saying to you, you've got to evaluate it for yourself, okay? Don't let anyone push you into following their truth. It's got to be your truth too. But take it seriously because there's some good advice coming to you there. Friends, did you choose card number 3? If you did, it's number 17 in the Major Arcana yet again, and it's the Star. And this just looks great. I think this one says it all. I struggle to find any words to attach to this card that's going to make it sound any different from what it speaks to you when you actually look at the image here. Great golden light up above. Great streaks of lightning coming out there, no doubt flowing into this woman as she reaches up for that divine kind of connection, but also flowing out all around her, all to different sides. And this is something, you know, probably about working with spirit guides. It is different strokes for different folks, and I always say the most important interpretation on any card I read, any reading I do for you, is what your interpretation is, what it actually means to you. But that's what I'm seeing here, you know. I'm seeing a real huge amount of golden inspiration flowing down in these healing purple and turquoise truthful streaks. We've got loads of turquoise truth in this video. I just wish you could see the true colour of this shirt. It's a real nice turquoise colour. But hey, what are you going to do about it? Anyway, she's standing in water. Look, she's grounded. Okay, so if you're getting spiritual information coming to you, it can drive you a bit nuts. Just ground yourself, okay, and know that the water is always flowing, that there's always some kind of healing, and you can always ask your spirit guides to help you with any kind of concern, whether it's knowing what to do or just being a bit afraid of it, which is quite natural, by the way. You know, it can be pretty scary when it starts happening to you. Just, you know, remember you've got a gatekeeper. Ask that gatekeeper for help and it will come. So, friends, there we go. That's today's video. Hope you found it helpful. Hope you've enjoyed it. Please leave me a comment to let me know how you feel about this, because I know a lot of people who view the channel at the moment are actually in that position of either coming into spiritual work, or they've been doing it for years, maybe decades, and they feel they want to either take it to the next level or the path is changing in some way. So leave me a comment. We'll share that journey, friends. I've been there on a lot of these things, and I might learn something from you. I very often do learn something from you. If you would like to buy the channel, i.e. me, a coffee, check out my coffee page. There's a link to it down there. There are links to all kinds of good things down there. Do follow me on social media, Facebook and Instagram in particular. I often post things on there that don't make it into the videos as a separate kind of thing. On Christmas Day, I'm planning to go live on Instagram with my spiritualist medium colleague Sammy. We work in the spiritualist churches together when they're open, and of course none of them are open at the moment. And we're going to go live on Instagram on Christmas Day. At least that's the plan. At the moment, you know, it keeps changing. There's this new strain of whatever it is. and everyone's kind of afraid. But the plan is we're going to meet up on Christmas Day and do this live together, so do follow me on Instagram. Meanwhile, thumbs up please if you've enjoyed it. Do hit that subscribe button, it makes a massive difference to the channel. I really hope you're going to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you have already, thank you so much, and big thanks to all of you for sharing the journey with me today. Meanwhile, have a fantastic time ahead, my friends. Hope your Christmas preparations are all coming together nicely. Love, light, blessings to you, and of course, peace.